Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Oktarina Eka Setiyaningrum, student ID 2520117. In this video, I will explain about speaking and listening process. Speaking overviews. Speaking process includes three distinct stages. One, before speaking, during speaking, and after speaking. Before speaking, the speaker decides what they are going to say, how they will say it, and who he will be listening. During speaking, the speaker has to consider various factors: being understood, tone of voice, using suitable vocabulary, nonverbal actions, managing listeners' reactions and responses, being able to recognize and repair any misunderstandings or communication breakdown. After speaking, the speakers might have to answer questions, clarify ideas, make adjustments, repair misunderstandings, and explain any concepts not understood. Effective speakers do not always use formal pre-speaking activities. Effective speakers do not always use formal pre-speaking activities to plan prior to speaking. This is particularly true of spontaneous speech. However, more formal speaking and unfamiliar spoken that texts often involve some level of planning and thinking before speaking. Effective speakers know how to prepare and plan. Effective speakers are able to make choices about how to plan depending on the purpose, audience, and context for their speaking. Effective speakers are able to do the following: one, engage with the learning by discussing their thinking with others, and determine their own purpose for speaking, generate ideas for speaking, build background knowledge, and gather and record thoughts and ideas, notes and drawing. For example, notes and drawing. Use different techniques to organize ideas. For example, thinking aloud, brainstorming, drawing, listing, using graphics organizers. And then consider informal planning. Structures and props are needed for formal planned speeches. For example, notes, power cards, PowerPoint displays. Supporting speakers to plan. Activities that support speakers to plan and essential learning. One, sharing personal experiences. Learning experiences are think, pair, and share. Number two, determining the purpose of speaking. Learning experiences, pre-speaking, reflective questions, and before we begin, and then what's relevant. And number three, generating ideas for speaking. Learning experiences. Number one, brainstorming, and dog brainstorming, and then dialogue journal. Number four, establishing a knowledge base, communication detectives, speech pyramid, speaking model. 5. Considering point of view. What's my point of view? 6. Organizing and recording information, graphic organizers, making notes. And then number 7, planning for formal talks. Learning experiences. 1. General information, planning frameworks, and using information technology, using visual aids, using anecdotes, and using rehearsal. Speaking process, managing speaking. Being a successful speaker involves more than just producing, replicating a spoken text form. For students to be considered competent, they need to be able to successfully manage a number of different factors. They need to be able to interact with their audience. They must be able to predict, self-monitor, respond to questions, summarize and synthesize thoughts, and explain and justify their opinions. Supporting students during speaking. Students need to build their competence to speak in a wide range of social situations. When considering how to support students during their speaking, it is important to remember that most of the speaking they do in the class will not be planned formal speech. And then speaking process, manage reflecting, reviewing, and refining. It is important that students have the time and support to reflect on their own speaking. Students will benefit from being able to critically reflect on the effectiveness of their speaking, whether it is planned speech acts that have taken place in formal settings or speech that has occurred in unplanned informal settings. Reflecting will allow them to refine their speech and set goals for future interactions. Supporting students to reflect. Students' reflection needs to include feedback from teachers and peers, as this form an essential part of setting realistic and achievable goals. Listening process, planning and preparing. Students need to be given the opportunity to plan, gather and organize prior to the act of listening. Number two, students' prior experience and sociocultural backgrounds will impact on their listening behaviors. Number three, discuss and take notes. Effective listeners know how to prepare and plan. Effective listeners are able to do the following: one, discussion. Number two, setting goals. Number three, build new understanding. Four, ready to listen. Number five, using different techniques. Supporting listeners to plan. One, call. Number two, brainstorming. Three, brainwriting. Focus on key vocabulary. And then TQLR. TQLR is short for tune, question, listen, and review. Listening guides. Listening guides can be used to activate knowledge prior to listening, to focus attention during listening, and to reflect on after listening. Listening process, managing listening. Supporting listeners to manage their listening. Active listening skills. For of the skill the active listeners should use are encouragers, refreshing, restarting, and repeating, reflecting, questioning, asking. Pre-listening activities need to provide opportunities for students to plan and organize for listening, especially in unfamiliar contexts. Teachers can support students in the pre-listening stage by providing suitable learning experiences. Writing and discussing. Make predictions they will be listening to. Formulate the questions, making them aware of the listening protocol in particular situations. Four activities can be supported in managing listening. One, directed listening thinking activity. The process is as follows. The teacher reads or tells the title to students and asks what the story might be about. Record students' predictions on the board or on a card. Students listen to the first section of the text, continue through the text, predicting reading to students, and reacting to their predictions. Number two, note taking. Number three, verbatim split text procedures. And then recording notes, students, organizing notes, and then visualize and note take. Provide students with spoken text, for example, audio tab, video tab, live speech, and then have students listen to the text, and have the students listen again, this time pausing at relevant place to record a visual image of their understanding. For example, sketch a flow chart or a map. And then let's have students share their representations with a partner or small groups. That's my material, and thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.